This episode is powered by Act Now Education. Go to www.actnoweducation.com for free comprehensive educational resources and opportunities for active duty, veterans, military spouses, and children. Warriors fall in. We're calling our shot this week. It's the Military Spouse Takeover, where Act Now Education is helping 1,000 military spouses launch their careers. Folks, this is a podcast special for the morning formation. I have a guest from our military community who's an active duty military spouse. She's extremely active in the military engagement community as well. Over the years, she's volunteered for Hiring Our Heroes, served as director of service to software, served again as a director for Vets to Industry, and is now the vice president of American Corporate Partners, also known as ACP. Today, I'm joined with Leslie Coffey. Leslie, I want to say thank you so much for giving me the time and opportunity with everything else you got going on to be here with us today.
Oh, I'm just honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Leslie, I first met you back when we were on Clubhouse, which is an all audio app. And some of the deepest connections that I've had with this community started off in Clubhouse on just an audio app. I really appreciate all the times that you would join us on Fridays for the military mix-up when that was going on, providing all the resources and advice and support out there for our community. I really appreciate you doing that. And for those out there who have never spoken to you before, don't know who you are, and just are hearing about you for the first time, would you mind telling us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about your background?
Yes, so I'm originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and that's where I met my service member. He's been serving for 28 years, and I've been a part of 26 of those. We actually met at a bus stop in high school, known him since I was 14. And those 26 years, we've been stationed everywhere from Fairbanks, Alaska, to the Mojave Desert in California, to El Paso on the border, in Fort Hood, Texas, in Clarksville, Tennessee, coastal Georgia, all over the place. And now we at JBLM in Washington. Now we're currently stationed at the United States Military Academy at West Point, New York. So several moves later.
Wow, that is quite a journey throughout your life, and all this coming from small town Kentucky. Well, I don't know small town, but small in reference to the rest of, I live in Los Angeles. So
Right.
you've literally moved everywhere, all over the place. And 28 years later, here you are. Leslie, would you mind talking to us about your overall motivation for the career that the career journey that you've been on over the years?
Yeah, so my motivation is really just giving back to this community I've been serving, and also to help my peers. All those moves that I mentioned, there's even some in there that I failed to mention. But of those moves, the Army's always made my decision for me to resign. I even once owned my own career center and had to interview and find my replacement, which was probably one of the most challenging things I've had to do for my career. It was only thing I can equate it to is like interviewing for a stepmom for your kids, because I built that place.
Right.
And, it was just having to find a replacement was really difficult. So because of that, because this was the first move in 26 years that the Army didn't make my decision for me to resign, and quite frankly, that was because of COVID, because I could prove that I could do my job and produce regardless of the location, then that's why I really want to do what I can to help my peers and those coming up behind me.
You know what? I honestly think you'd be an excellent military leader yourself, because a lot of us that serve, that's the one thing that we do is we mentor and we coach and we legitimately care about those around us, those who we serve with. When you're working in any type of environment where you have the strong potential of depending on others to have your back, you kind of grow sort of a new family of sorts. And I feel like that's kind of what you've done over the years. Whenever you've PCSed and got stationed at a new place, you grow those relationships and those deep ties, and then you've got to say goodbye in 4 years or so and move on to your next place and socialize and meet new people all over again from different cultures, different parts of the United States or parts of the world. So that's the fascinating part about our community in general. Over the years, Leslie, you've worked in the military engagement and transition space for so long. Would you mind describing any career pain points or issues that you've seen over the years, specifically with being a military spouse?
specifically being a military spouse is exactly what you talked about. So when you move to a new location, you don't have a built-in network, and you know that over 80% of positions come from your network. They come from somebody referring you, somebody willing to put their name on the line to bring you into their organization. Well, when you're a military spouse and you get there, we can't even identify who our emergency contact is for our kids. I mean, that's one of the most difficult things is when you're starting the school year and they ask you for three. I can't even figure out one emergency contact to put down, less alone know somebody professionally that would be willing to refer me for an internal position. And that's where 80% of positions come from, or more than that, is from referrals. So I would say, those are the biggest challenges. First of all, you're going to, I'll give you one move example. Fairbanks, Alaska, there's the heart of Alaska, which is the size of 3 Texases, to El Paso, Texas, which was on the border. And really, you need to be bilingual to get a position there, in all honesty. So, from moving from one to the other, I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about El Paso. I didn't know anybody there. And because every position I looked for required you to be bilingual, I just at that point decided to pursue my master's. So, that was a decision because I didn't want a gap. So I wanted to continue to progress some way. So always having to reinvent yourself, starting from scratch. And, we'd had 6 moves in 8 years. So 4 years would have been even really nice.
Wow. That is a lot, actually. I'm used to every 4 years or so. So some of those moves are shorter than others, right?
18 months, 10 months, but the last few have been about 18 months.
Wow. That's a lot of shakeup when it comes to someone's personal and professional life. And that's what a lot of folks need to understand when it comes to being not just a military service member, but a military spouse, and the kids included. I was a military brat growing up. So I grew up part of my life in Hawaii, and then I moved for a short amount of time before my dad retired. I moved to Kansas and Fort Riley, and then my dad retired, and all of a sudden I found myself in the middle of Ohio, and it was quite a culture shock, quite a difference. You learn really quick how to be resilient, how to be social, how to adjust, and overall, as your time as an ACP senior management, would you mind describing your experiences so far and the impact that you've seen from the organization?
Well, I can start by saying that I am actually one of the very few on staff that is actually alumni of the program. And the whole reason why I joined is because I see our program and what we do as a gift that I want to give this community that I've been serving for 26 years. But I've been here. I've been with ACP for a year now. We've grown by 37% in the past year, which has been phenomenal. And that just means that many more lives that we can touch and change. And we currently have about 3,500 in the program right now. And everybody's journey is completely customized, completely different. So what that means is 3,500 success stories and individual things that we get to celebrate every single day. And they're so moving. Like some of the things that we hear, it just makes you want to help more and more.
Yeah, I think it's great in today's day and age with the internet and the technology that we have. I got out of the Army in 2007, and you've heard me say this 1,000 times probably, but the hottest thing on the internet back then was MySpace. And thankfully we've progressed into having LinkedIn, Clubhouse, we have Facebook, we have all these other new social media platforms out there as well. So, ACP can really help you. It sounds like ACP can really help you connect professionally, but then also socially when it comes to, hey, you've spoken to Leslie Coffey. My husband's now getting stationed in New York. So she can, you're going to be able to give that other person some insight on what it's like to PCS, what it's like to move to that new duty station. So I think it's also a great place to connect with folks as well. And I think some of the best parts about ACP is that, it's free, right?
Yes. Yeah, we were a nationwide nonprofit. We've actually been around since 2008. So we were just came in after you separated. But 23,000 have come through our program, but we're completely free nationwide nonprofit.
And you guys serve service members, military spouses. Is there any group that I'm missing out of that?
Yeah, so active duty, Coast Guard, Reserve, National Guard, anybody that served at least 180 days post 9/11. So you could even come through now, even though you got out in 2007. And active duty spouses, Gold Star spouses, and spouses of disabled post 9/11 veterans.
Okay. Yeah, that's really fascinating. And do you know offhand approximately how many folks within our military community ACP has helped over the years, or how many people are we currently helping?
Yes, so 23,000 have officially completed. Actually, that's since we started keeping data in 2010. We launched in 2008, but we really didn't start keeping track until figured out we were onto a good thing, something that is very niche in 2010. So 23,000 come through, and we currently have about 3,500 in the program.
I wanted to underline the whole free portion on that one there, but I also want to underline too. Now, this is for everybody, no matter where you're stationed, correct?
Yeah, globally. We just actually, I was talking with a colleague of mine on Friday, or I guess I shouldn't say the day of the week. Sorry, we can cut that. I was talking with a colleague of mine the other day, and right before our call, he was just with a military spouse in Japan. And he was helping her to, figure out who he was going to pair her with as far as a mentor, what she was looking for to help her with her career needs in Japan.
Outstanding. And I think that's really important. I was stationed at 25th in Hawaii at the time when I transitioned out. And that was a big problem because the rest of the world was on the East Coast or on mainland. So I would get phone calls. Hey, can you come to this interview in Baton Rouge? And can you be here like tomorrow or in 2 days? And I'm like, no, I'm in Hawaii right now, actually. And then I have to put in my leave. Like there's a lot of things that I have to do. At the time, I was a battalion staff officer. And you can't just pick up and go whenever you want when you have that responsibility. And being military, it's hard not to finish your duties. And I think that was one of the challenges too, was I was trying to finish strong when there was a certain time of my transition. I should have started facing outwardly and focused on myself. And I didn't do that. And, Leslie, that's why I'm here, is because I don't want folks to make the same mistakes that I did, the same pitfalls that I did over the years. And it's really nice to speak to folks like you who have the same type of passion as well. I wanted to ask you, for military spouses out there that might be listening to this and they're kind of on the edge and they're not really sure if ACP is for them, or they may not think too highly of themselves career-wise when it comes to, having a career versus just a job. What would you say to those military spouses to consider ACP?
Yeah, so that really hurts my heart a little bit to hear, because I understand. And I can tell you why I understand, because for so many years, even actually before my ACP mentor was a huge influence to launch me out of this. But for years, I was so-and-so's spouse, or I was so-and-so's mom. I have 4 kids. They're all in sports. And, so I'm the glorified taxi cab driver. So it's, hey,
Minivan.
Oh yeah, you're so-and-so's mom, and oh, you're so-and-so's spouse.
Right.
I didn't have my own professional identity. And that's exactly what my mentor helped me to own. And first of all, to discover, because we did a lot with career exploration, but also to own. And it was the first time where somebody was pouring into me specifically, and where I had always been pouring into the community or to my family, and just trying to figure out that role and just trying to put together mosh posh, whatever I could come up with as fast as I could obtain a position. In this situation, it was, a mentor pouring into me. And it's one person dedicated to my career success and my journey only. And quite honestly, it was a little awkward at first. Like it took some adjustment, but once I figured, kind of accepted it and moved past my own inner voice, my own inner critic, then, that's when it really took off.
I think that's very well said. And yeah, it is really unfortunate. I was a little surprised. I recently spoken to some military spouses, and I had kind of heard that where it was like, well, I don't know if this is for me, or I'm not a great speaker, or I'm not this, I'm not good at. And I'm like, yes, you are. Like, you are good at all that stuff. Stop putting yourself at a different level than outside of the military. Now is the time to start focusing on your career, because there's so many options out there for folks in that specific space and in a specific category. And I wanted to ask you, Leslie, just with all your experiences and everything, how do you think military spouses can overcome the obstacles of career advancement, while serving in active duty? It can be really, really challenging at times.
Yes, I would say, don't be shy and think that you have to go this alone. Reach out. You have an entire tribe that would love to help you. And, even though you may be moving to a location where you don't know anybody, again, this whole community, chances are I've been to 10 or 12 duty stations. I probably know somebody there and could introduce you as well as the rest of us. And that's actually something that ACP is launching with Military Spouse Appreciation Day. We're launching a specific spouse engagement support group on Facebook, so that they can go in and they can just ask these kind of questions. And then, and then we can come in with guidance and recommendations and our best practices and help them and encourage them.
Yeah, that's actually fascinating to have that interactive space for folks out there, and it's made so many other social platforms very successful to have that connective space. And it's great to hear that ACP is also doing the same thing. And for anyone out there that's listening right now, Leslie, if they're interested in signing up for ACP, what would be the first steps that they would take?
Go right to our website, acp-usa.org. And then there'll be an apply now button, and then you can select if you are a veteran or if you're a military spouse, and we'll take it from there.
It's outstanding. And at the beginning of this podcast, I talked about the Military Spouse Takeover. Would you mind talking about this outstanding campaign that's taking place right now between Act Now Education and ACP?
Yeah, so this really makes my heart so very happy. I can't even put it into words. And because I benefited from my HCP mentorship in the middle of the Mojave Desert, before remote work was a thing, they officially launched ACP for military spouses in 2018, on Veterans Day 2018. Before then, I'd known about it, and I'd been in transition, so I'd always shared it, but it wasn't available to me. So when they announced they were going to make it available to spouses, I actually put a countdown app on my phone so I would be one of the first to apply. And the result of my mentorship was a 67% increase in pay in the Mojave Desert before remote work was a thing, which, if you've never been stationed in Fort Irwin, California, the closest Chick-fil-A is like 96 miles. So that's what I consider civilization. But my mentor really helped me with, she helped me with salary negotiation, gave me templates and wording and emails and career exploration, lots of things, because she's on the Forbes Coach Council. So, and she's been on the other side of the hiring desk for so long, so she could help me stand out as a candidate. But Jay and I spoke because my founder in February, he started, of course, he hears myself and others on the staff that are military spouses. He understands the unique challenges of the mil spouse journey, and he made a pact that he wanted to help 1,000 military spouses. So who better to join in with than Jay, and of course Act Now Education, because you all are just movers and shakers and doing all the things. I just love it.
Act Now Education has no lack of passion, that's for sure. When I joined Act Now Education, it was I was quite enthusiastic about it after going through the interview process and hearing like what some of the team members from Act Now Education had to say as far as why they were there. Basically had me all in as far as joining that team. And it's great to hear after this entire episode listening about ACP and all the great things that they've done, to see these two titans kind of come together and build a campaign like this. And going back to what you talked about with salary negotiations, I had an experience with that too. And I want to go back and re-highlight that. You said 67% pay increase after
Mhm.
using ACP, right?
Yes. So, at the time, I hadn't even started really making a dent in my student loans. So I have a master's, so and I had student loans for that. And even before my journey for undergrad, I went to 7 universities as a military spouse. So that's something not
Wow.
talked about enough is ever because I'm super ancient. So online school wasn't a big thing then. And so all my moves, I had to, transfer credits and start. I took Cal 1 3 times. And it was
Wow.
4.0 every time, but they would say, oh, it didn't include whatever, whatever. It's all money. But I was able to fund my undergrad with scholarships. For grad school, there wasn't really a lot of scholarships, so I had student loans. So when we were in the Mojave Desert, like I had drowning in student loans, we had car payments, I got 4 kids, and I was really underpaid. So it was like robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I get it. Like this thing spouses are going through and trying to provide for their families and trying to also have that work-life balance. I get it. And that's why I'm really so passionate about it, because I don't want them to struggle as much as we did. But with that increase, all my student loans are gone now. Cars are paid off. We're saving for retirement, and we're just really, really fortunate. So that is the impact it had on me, and that's why I want to give this as a gift to all my peers.
That's awesome, Leslie. 28 years in the military, moved all over the place, had PCS moves that were as short as 18 months. And you've seen a lot of people come and go. You've interacted with so many folks over the years, and here you are reaching back, serving as a vice president of an outstanding organization, and you're paired up for the 1,000 military spouse takeover going on with Act Now Education. Um, for the specific launch date of this now, which is going to be 6th May, that is a very special day.
It is.
It is. It's Military Spouse Appreciation Day, and so it's really important for us to understand that if you're a military spouse listening to this, make sure you take care of yourself. What Leslie just talked about, the 4 kids, the sports, the um, taxi mom, everything going on, right? You got to make sure you invest in yourself. And I think ACP is a great way for you to spend that time in the evenings or whenever you have free time of working towards your own career. But also too, want to talk about this too, Leslie. Like the mentors for ACP can also offer a little bit of guidance when it comes to goal setting or when it comes to
Absolutely.
journeys, right? And so if you don't,
Absolutely.
yeah, if you don't know what you want to do, I mean, would you say that it would be a great idea for a military spouse to sign up for this to help kind of uh, clarify that vision on where you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So interestingly, 86% of those that come to us have no idea what they want to do on their career path. So you don't have to have that figured out. That's exactly where that career clarity. I mean, that's a big thing that happened with me. Career exploration. My mentor called it window shopping. Like we have
Mhm.
documents. I still have everything that she provided me, and we're just going around and talking and exploring all different paths and introducing me to people, and they're telling me, what a day in the life looks like in their position. And as quickly I would be like, yeah, that's not for me, or wow, that's really cool. I could see myself doing that. And by the way, I'm in the nonprofit space, but my undergrad is a finance, and I don't do anything with finance. So don't self-select out of opportunities, or get yourself in a situation where you think you have to stay a certain path. The mentor can really help you with some of that self-assessment and figuring out what really lights your fire.
Right, exactly, 100%. And I want to say this to everyone out there: you don't have to be a sharpshooter when it comes to figuring out your journey, your career journey, anyways. Because I'm all over the place. My undergrad is in criminal justice. My MBA is in project management. I have an MSA in organizational leadership. I'm all over the place, right? So, and I really haven't used any of those degrees
Right.
specifically. But the one thing that I tell people, about that specifically is it's not a good idea to have a straight line path unless it's a very technical job that you have to. It's kind of good to kind of go out and have these different experiences in different categories and different industries along your journey, because like when it comes to project management, for example, a lot of people wouldn't quite understand like what would that have to do with my current position, but you learn a lot of things in those studies that you can actually apply to many different industries out there. So the fact that you're all over the place, that kind of builds character is what I like to say. So you don't have to be a sharpshooter. I think it's important to have clarity. ACP is the place to go. If you don't know, what you want to do, get that clarity by talking to an ACP mentor. Sign up for the Military Spouse Takeover. And Leslie, before we finish off the podcast today, is there anything specifically that you'd like to tell our audience out there? Is there any suggestions or advice or nuggets of knowledge that you'd like to share to help inspire folks?
Well, I'd love to just piggyback on what you were saying about not having blinders on and being specific in a certain path. I would say give yourself permission to play. Give yourself permission to play in the space, dabble in some things, and you absolutely take nuggets from all of these positions. And if you feel like your resume is like a pinball machine or something and it's all over the place, we can help with that. We can help you to pull out what's relevant and help it to go towards, what your goals are. But something else that ACP offers, aside from the 1-to-1 year-long customized mentorship, is even if you have a specific mentor for a year that's really there as a safe sounding board and guidance, but we also offer what we call one-off conversations. So if you're completely exploring and you want to know what it's like to work in sports, we can connect you with somebody with Major League Baseball or the Mets, or we have like 6 baseball teams, or, you want to learn what it's like in broadcast, and whether it's News Corp or ESPN, or really, we have 36 areas of expertise. So, and 115 corporate partners, even higher education. You want to know what it's like to be the director of IT for University of Texas. Or Harvard. They're also mentors in our program. So you let us know just what interests you, and we can start aligning conversations to see really how they got there and, what a day in life looks like for them.
Wow. Say no more, because you know what? I honestly did not highlight that either. Some of your mentors, because I reached out to several mentors to have this conversation, and so I was able to get scheduled, some were a little too busy during these next few weeks. But I mean, the career level of some of your mentors is so impressive. I mean, like you just mentioned, Major League Baseball, ESPN. I mean, that's something. I mean, these are not just people who, hey, I want to sign up as a mentor, and these are folks that actually have very, very high level standing career positions and are volunteering as ACP mentors. Like, you can't reach any higher than this. So
yeah, like the CEO of Campbell Soup is a mentor in our program, the president of Oxy, the chairman of Johnson and Johnson. But don't think it's overwhelming, or that you'd be wasting their time, because I failed on some of that with my mentor. So please learn from me. Understand that they are volunteering because they want nothing more than to give back and to see you succeed. So, don't think that, oh, I'm not at that level. That is not the case. I can tell you, I just had a webinar with the director of human resources for HCA Healthcare, and that is a huge conglomerate of hospitals. And she started off as an actress first in New York City, and then she was a recruiter for law firms. So everybody started somewhere, and her journey was not straight. So they can talk to you about their own journey and how they got to their level. So, you can just have these conversations, you're learning from them, and just understand our satisfaction rate for those that come through our program is 97%. But for the mentors, it's 99. So they get more out of this a lot of times than even the veterans or spouses. Like they just love it. They just want to help. And that's exactly why they're volunteering.
That's awesome. I don't know. I think the moon, the stars, and the sun all aligned when they got Leslie Coffey, ACP, and Act Now Education, along with this takeover that's happening on the 6th of May. It's absolutely fascinating, Leslie. I can hear in your voice your overall passion for what you do, which is I think is awesome. And it's one of the reasons that I'm here with the Morning Formation podcast. I hold down a full-time gig and I have a family and I have a lot of things going on. I volunteer for Act Now Education as well. So at the end of the day, what drives me and what makes me get up in the morning for things like this is to hear folks like you out there also reaching out to try to make a difference in our community, because I think the career transition portion of it all and just simply fitting in, I really believe will help our community out when it comes to a lot of things. That whole 22 a day, 22 suicides a day, just keeping marriages together. There's so many things that this kind of fingers out and touches when it comes to our specific community. So I love what you're doing, Leslie. Thank you for being who you are overall. And if anyone out there has been listening to this episode, Leslie, and they're interested in contacting you or whether that be through email or on your platforms, how can they do that?
Yes, so the easiest place to find me is probably going to be on LinkedIn. But for ACP, we're at acp-usa.org. And I have to say, I think where this partnership is really going to blossom, as you all provide all of these free courses and certifications and training, it's what do they do next with those? And that's what the mentors can help them to highlight it in their resume, to make them marketable, to help them interview prep, interview ready, and then that salary negotiation once they get the offer.
Amen. I mean, you have so many organizations out there from start to finish. You've got, Vets to Industry, you've got Act Now Education, you've got ACP, you've got everything from getting the certifications, getting the notifications that the certifications are available, to getting the mentorship through ACP, and then finishing it off strong by actually getting the career placement that you want. And so, Leslie, I just want to say thank you for joining us on the Morning Formation podcast today. I really hope we can do more in the future. You are a titan in this community, and thank you for being who you are.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation. I just love it, and I love everything you all are about. So thank you for giving back to our community. We can each one reach one together.
And I got to throw this jab in there, though. I saw that you're a University of Kentucky fan, which my dad is.
Yes, I bleed blue.
My dad is as well, but I'm sorry. I'm Ohio State. I don't
consider us rivals, so that's okay.
I don't know.
As long as you're not Louisville, you're okay.
Yeah, Louisville is a tough little school, that's for sure. But anyways, yeah, I love the whole regional competition that we got going on in the Midwest. My heart is still there because my parents are still there. So, but anyways, 6 May. We're launching the Military Spouse Takeover. We're helping 1,000 military spouses launch their careers. This is really the Act Now Education meets ACP, out there to help folks elevate their careers. And so, if you're a military spouse, active duty military spouse, you're listening to this right now, go on and get signed up right now. You can go to Act Now Education. You can go on the Facebook account, the Facebook groups. You can reach out to Leslie, reach out to me. We'll lead you in the right direction. So, Leslie, thank you so much for joining us today. And everyone out there who's listening, I want you to stay tuned, stay focused, and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out. You've been listening to the Morning Formation podcast. I hope you found today's materials helpful and of value to your current situation. You can connect with me on Instagram at the_morning_formation_podcast. Or you can connect with me via email at theformationpodcaster@gmail.com. Also, I would like to thank my partners at Act Now Education for their support. Authenticity, community, and trusted is what you can expect from all members of the Act Now Education team. You can link up with them today and learn about some new free educational resources on their Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, or at their website, actnoweducation.com.
whether today's show took you back to a nostalgic time or helped you think about tomorrow. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you again. Stay safe and stay motivated. Warriors, fall out.